Here, I'm talking about how to align yourself with your desired career path. And really, in order to do this, you must have a very high level of self-awareness. In other words, what you're good at, what you want to do, how you help people.
Thanks for clicking on this short video. This is an extraction from a longer video of a workshop. The link to this longer video is in the description below. There, we discuss other facets of the same issue discussed here. Do take a look too.
So this is really making sure that you know what is your professional identity, what is your personal identity, and the desired state for you should be that the professional and the personal identity should be aligned and in harmony. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to go through with you to see how we can align that for you. All right. Now, in order to do this, there are basically three components we need to understand, or rather you need to understand for yourself. Okay, what skills you have. Okay, in other words, what you do well. Okay, what are the values? What is important to you in your career, right? And then also what engages me, my passion. Okay, what are your interests and how does your personality play in looking at your career growth? All right, so these are the three important areas that I'm going to go through with you over the next few slides. And in essence, if you look at it, these are the three things that we need to assess for ourselves. Okay, we need to assess for ourselves. If we look at skills, really the focus here is on what? It's on looking at the job function that we want to do or we want to go into, and really explore what skills are organizations looking for in my interest area, right? What about values? Values, what is important to you in your career? The focus here is really on the environment, isn't it? What type of organization best supports what's important for you? What best supports your values? Okay? Interest and personality, what engages you, your passion. So the focus here is on what? The things that you are going to do in your job or the things that you are currently doing, right? So exploration is basically what job or, the things that the nature of the job itself, how is it going to be aligned with my interests and my personality traits? Is that okay? So in a very simple way, these are the components that you really need to look at when you're trying to align your career to your own personality, interests, and who you are, basically. Okay, so we're going to touch upon this, and I'm going to do it in a very simple way. Right? I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to basically go through with you two little exercises. Now, for those of you who have been to my past workshops, I think that some of you, I see the names in the list itself. You have gone through this, but obviously it's always good to rehash and go through it again, because I think the more often you do this, the more succinct it's going to stick into your mind, all right? And then sometimes when you do it, you spot new things as well. Okay, so two exercises over the next maybe 15-20 minutes, I'm going to bring you through. All right, so the first one here, we're going to look at what motivates us. Why? Because in essence, if you look at it, whatever things we do, whether the level of success we have, how well we perform, the things that's going through our head in terms of our attitude, our goals, what we want to achieve, it's really about whether we have the motivation to do all those things. And in essence, motivation, all right, comes from what? It comes from what is important for us, right? And it comes from what is meaningful to us. Okay? If you have something that is meaningful to you and you find that it's very important, you will be motivated to do something about it, to use that skill. Okay? So that is the premise, that is the underlying assumption that we all need to understand for this next exercise itself. Motivation. How do we then understand what is meaningful to us, what is important to us? Well, this is a little exercise that I always ask many of my clients to do, as well as my workshop participants. This is called the meaningful experience exercise, right? And in essence, it is trying to understand what motivates you. In essence, what I need you to understand this is very, very simple. Okay, you have 4 columns there. Okay, your job title, whether it's part-time, full-time, voluntary, or whatever, even can be your past jobs, right? Activities related to job, what are the things that you do in those jobs? Okay, what you like most about the job, what you dislike most about the job. Okay, very simple 4 columns, right? So the trick here is this. At the very minimum, you list down at least 3 past or current activities in your job that you are doing right now. Why 3, you may ask? Anything less than 3, you cannot spot a pattern. Okay? 3 is the minimum for you to be able to spot a pattern. What is the pattern? The pattern is essentially looking at what you like and what you dislike. Okay? So that is what we are trying to do, to spot a pattern. Okay? Now, Jane went through this exercise with me. All right? So Jane has basically gone through the same activity that I've just shared with you.
After analyzing the themes in my past roles, I noticed that I enjoy collaborating with others, making a positive impact, and learning new skills. On the other hand, I disliked doing the same type of work repeatedly, dealing with difficult personalities, and having limited resources. These themes proved very useful in helping me consider what I wanted in my career next steps.
So you can see this, all right? What Jane really looked at was what was the pattern for her in the things that she liked and the things that she didn't like doing in her past jobs. Okay? So by listing all these things down, it was very clear to her what those things were. So that is your first exercise that you need to do to understand what you like and what you dislike. Okay? Now you may ask yourself, all right, so if I do this, how is it going to help me? How is it going to help me? Well, again, if you come back to this, right, it is about what then motivates you to do the things that you want to do, whether it's in your job. Sometimes people use the exercise to actually apply to their own personal life as well. But in essence, it's looking at what motivates you. All right. And by listing all those things down, you actually are able to identify what's important to you as well. Okay. In your career, what's your career values, right? And in essence, also gives you an idea of what are your interests and what are the things that drives you in terms of your personality. Okay? All right. So the meaningful experience exercise, a very, very powerful tool, simple but powerful. Okay. So I really urge you, after today's session, go give it a try. Go try your hand at this. Even for those of you who have already done it in the past, from my past webinars, try it again. Or maybe share the results with someone that you trust. Share with them. Talk it through with them. Right? And then they will tell you, sometimes they say, hey, they will tell you something that maybe you didn't spot before. All right? So, based on what you have seen in this meaningful experience exercise, but again, it reinforces it, but adds another angle. It adds another angle. Okay? Here, we are adding the angle of your skills, your strengths. All right? Now, here, skills, right? I refer to a broad definition of skills, hard as well as soft skills. Hard as well as soft skills. Right? So you all know what hard skills are, right? Hard skills are really definable, technical skills, project management skills, accounting. Those are hard skills. Soft skills is what? Teamwork. Very detailed. All right? Very flexible. Those are soft skills. Now, for this exercise, list down both hard as well as soft. Okay? Why? Because in essence, again, the combination of your hard and soft skills will tell you how you go about helping people. I'll elaborate a little bit later on when I show you examples of this. All right? Again, you can go through to that video itself to actually see an in-depth description, step by step, on how you can do this. All right? I'm going to bring Jane in again. to show an example of what she has done. What she has done. Right. You can see in the boxes, the 4 boxes, the different color boxes, I put some terms there. Some terms there. What are these terms? In the purple box, which it says, I'm good at this and I like to do this. The combination of something that you like to do and something that you are good at means that you are really motivated to use those skills. Right? That's why we call it the motivated skills. Right? Burnout, red. What does it mean? You're good at it, but you don't like to use it. I'm sure a lot of us have got that, right? Many people, you feel stressed out because you've been asked to do something. Everybody thinks that you're good at it, but you don't like to use it. The more you use it, the more stressed you are, you burn yourself out. That's why we call those burnout skills. Right. Yellow box, top left-hand corner. What are those? I am not good at this, but I like to do it. Which means what? Which means that really, I want to learn more about this so that I can be better at this. Right? So skills that you have that fall into that yellow box, you are not good at this, but you really want to learn how to do this. We call it developmental because those are skills you want to learn more about it, how to use it. All right? Irrelevant, bottom left-hand corner. I'm not good at this. I don't like to do this. What does that mean? Well, you could look at it a couple of ways. One, obviously, is to say, it doesn't matter to me. I may have those skills, but I'm not good at it. All right, so I don't bother about it. Or another way to look at it is this. I'm not going to use those skills in my next career path. Okay, so therefore, it's not relevant to me. So in all essence, we call it irrelevant skills. Okay, now all of us have that as well. All right, let's take a look at Jane. She went through this same exercise. What were her results? Her motivated skills, what were they? She said she was very good and very interested in doing these, developing marketing campaigns. Okay, she wanted to collaborate with a team. She's very good at this and she likes to do this. Managing social media, right? Making positive impact in the community. She was very motivated to do this, right? Learning new skills, creating content. Here, content she meant by social media content. Okay, so those things are what she's very motivated to use. She feels that she's good at this and she really likes to use those set of skills. So you see that, right? It's a mixture of hard and soft skills. All right. Let's look at what her burnout skills are. Burnout skills are. Analyzing data, right? Managing difficult personalities, dealing with limited resources. Right? Now, she has been told she's actually very good in these areas, right? In her past history, her career growth, all her bosses have said she's very good at doing all those things. But truth be told, every time she uses those skill sets, she feels very stressed out. She feels very stressed out. Okay? She knows she has to do it, but she feels very stressed out. All right. Let's take a look at her developmental skills. Right? Remember, these are skills that she's not good at, but she likes to do it. In other words, she wants to learn how to do it more. She's very interested in those areas. Fundraising, organizing events, teaching other people how to do things, evaluating. Interesting. She likes to, I think that's a combination of the teaching, evaluating. She likes to guide, she likes to help people, she likes to evaluate what's going on. Okay? So she feels that she's not up to par in that area, but she really wants to learn to do better in that area. Okay? Now, irrelevant, very quickly she works through this. She working with numbers, doing repetitive tasks, working in isolation. These are the things that she hopes in her next job or in her forward career path, she doesn't need to use. Okay? You may have similar things. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, by all means, you can do so as an example for you so that you can go and do a similar exercise for yourself as well. All right? So, now the question here is this. So what if I know all this? Does it mean that I want to make sure I find a job or a career that only allows me to do everything in the motivated skills box? I want to ignore jobs that forces me to do things in the burnout skills box? It's a yes and no answer. It's a yes and no answer. Right? Essentially, if you look at it, right, you are motivated to use things that you are good at and that you are very interested in. So it's essentially the top row itself. It's in the top row itself. Right? In the developmental box, in other words, the orange box, your objective should be to push it to the right-hand side to the purple box, right? Because your level of passion, your level of interest is there. Therefore, you want to find jobs which allow you to do that, or you want to find a career path which allows you to do that, right? Because in that, when you are in those roles, you are very motivated in your job and your career tasks, right? However, you shouldn't ignore things in the red box especially. Because let me tell you this, no job allows you to do everything in the top box 100% all the time. Okay? There will be some parts of your job, your career, that will force you to do things in the red box. Okay? So that is the reality in our careers, in our jobs. Right? Even in what I'm doing today. Right? As a career coach, as a facilitator, as an instructor, most of the things I do are up there. Right? Time to time, I have to do things that makes me stressed out. Okay? Makes me, if I do too much of it, burns out. Right? However, I know what these are. So I manage those things. Right? So the essence of going through this exercise essentially is giving you awareness. Awareness. Okay? Awareness of what? What you're good at, what you prefer to do, where you want to further develop. Right? What is the saying? As the saying goes, if you're aware of something, you can move forward and craft your direction based on the better self-awareness that you have. Okay? Now, the other thing that is really, really strong from this awareness is then it tells you how you help people. Now, why is this so important? If you look at it, the way we help people is really a combination of things, right? A combination of what we are good at, right? And what we are interested in. Okay? And essentially that's what we have, those two exercises have actually helped you to identify what you are good at and what's your passion, what's your interest, right? The combination of that motivates you, right? And therefore, it helps you to identify how you help people. Something missing here, right? What is the missing part here? The missing component is the employer. All or most employers, it's fair to say, are risk averse. They don't want to take risks, right? They want to hire people that fits into their criteria. What is their criteria? Their criteria to be able to run and help the company do the things that they want to do. Okay? So we need to address that as well. In other words, then we need to then find out who needs what we can offer. And who is willing to pay what for the things that we can offer. And usually that's the bosses, the employers itself. right? So very, very important, because if we know that, we understand what is the benefit we give to people. Okay? So very simple. Although we know what drives us, our expertise, our passion, right? Although we know this, that's only half the story. Because if we don't match what we are interested in and what we are good at with what other people, especially employers, what they need, then it's a worthless exercise, right? So you need to know what is your value add, what benefit do you have, do you give, so that other people, employers, will recognize this and say, I want to hire you. I want to hire you. Right? So that's the important part. And what's the best way to find this out? Is to find out how you can solve their problem, the employer's problem. Okay? You need to identify, first of all, what are the problems you solve. Okay? Because when you can solve a problem, you give benefit to the person who's having that problem. You give value add to the person who's having that problem. Right? So once you can understand this, right, the benefit we give, when you understand what's the benefit you give, right, you match it with the employer who has that problem. You can solve their problem. You become important to them. You become important to them. I hope you understand this principle. Huh? Why do employers hire people? They hire people because there is a job to do, right? The job is basically trying to grow the company, solve problems and all that. Even growing companies, right? You have problems there. Like how to grow a company, how to grow the business, right? So if we know what the problems are that the employer is facing, and we find that, hey, I can solve their problems, you bring it to the employer, convince them, then they say, wow, you can help me, you are of value to me. Okay? So that is the basic premise. Is that okay so far? Right? So the notion here is that looking at yourself as a problem solver. Looking yourself as a problem solver. So how do we do this? How do we do this? A very simple three-step process. Very simple three-step process. Again, a link to the video will be given to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through with you very quickly on what these things are. Right? So if you want to take a look at these three things, what they are, essentially, most people find it very easy to list this thing down. Your skills. Right? So I'll give an example here. Those of you who have got these skills, you may be able to relate to this. So the example here is what? Extensive people management. Okay? You've got extensive people management experience. You've got a great track record of building effective teams. Right? So if you have those skills, right, this is actually the easiest thing for us to list down. Right? What are our skills? What are our experiences? Very, very easy. The next easy thing that many people do is really this portion itself, right? This portion is related to your accomplishments. Okay, so in the CV you always say, what are my accomplishments, right? You always put down there, right? So this one is again also very easy to do, right? So essentially, what are the things that you have done? Okay, by building conducive team environment, you have mentoring experience, you provide very clear direction. Again, if you look at it here, I've classified both hard and soft skills together. So these two things, very easy to do for all of you. Okay, so you shouldn't have any problems in doing it. The middle portion here is something some people have a challenge because it is perhaps a new concept for many of you. Okay, it is basically a bridge between these two. So that's why I put it in the middle. It is a bridge between your skills and experience to how you solve using your skills and experience. Okay, problems I solve. Problems I solve. For those of you who have got this people management experience, right? What do you think are some of the things that you can solve? What are some of the problems you solve? Okay, somebody said, poor performance, low morale. Yep, right? Any others? Motivate team, improve company productivity. Okay, low company productivity is the problem. Improve is the way you do it. Customer complaints, meaning high level of customer complaints. Fair enough. Okay. Equality, not sure what I understand, but inequality, in other something is not right. Okay, fine. Right? Processes, again, I'm not sure what is the problem with the processes. Right? You got to be very specific. What is the problem with process? You want to improve processes. What is the issue with the processes? Okay. Be very specific about this. What are the issues with the processes? Workflow, okay? Workflow not doing well, you want to improve that. Okay. So I want you to really understand, really be very succinct about what are the problems. Okay? Because some of the terms that you mentioned are relating to this, how you solve it. So you want to know what the problems are. Okay, so in this case, right, some of you have mentioned this already. The problems are high staff turnover, low staff morale, underperforming teams. Okay, somebody mentioned collaboration. Maybe that is not the problem. The problem is a lack of teamwork, right? A lack of teamwork. That could be a problem, right? So you understand that the problems are there. What are the problems, right? Once you know what the problems are, you can take that knowledge you have of your problem-solving skills and go and take it to companies. Find those companies with that set of problems, right? And you put yourself in a very strong position to be able to help them because they need help in that area and you are someone who can help solve their problems. Okay? Hopefully you see this, right? Because I think this is a very, very important concept I need all of you to understand. Okay? So it is not just about listing your skills and your accomplishments. That is not enough in today's world anymore. Because if you only put down skills and accomplishments, what happens? You are forcing the employer, the prospective employer, to speculate, okay, you can do this, you have done this, how is it going to help me? How is it going to help me? Right? Why leave it to chance? Why not be very clear about the things that you can help them with, which is this part here. The problems you solve. The problems you solve. Are we okay with this? All right. Now, some people have asked me, okay, how do I identify what problems companies are going through? Very simple. But it takes work, right? You cannot see it on the surface level. For example, when a job application, job opening comes in, it's advertised. It says, this person is supposed to do this. Sometimes in the wordings of the requirements and the job description, they have indication of what the problems are. Okay, sometimes, right? Not enough. Don't just base it on that. Dig deeper. Find out who the company is. Dig deeper, whether it's from online resources or talking to people in the network. And then say, hey, this company just advertised something in the job opening. Okay, what's happening down there? Why are they finding people? Get your network, get your online resources to help you identify what are the real problems. Sometimes the problems that they specify could be symptoms of the real disease. Okay. The other option here is, those of you who attended my personal branding workshop a couple of weeks ago will hear this in a lot more detail. Essentially, it is about how you take this particular portion here, put it out into your personal branding platform and tell people, hey, I'm very strong at solving all these problems, right? Then by doing that, you attract opportunities from companies or people who have that problem and then say, hey, I want Albert to help me with this problem because I saw that Albert is able to do this. Okay, that's where the opportunities come in. Are we okay so far? Are we okay so far? All right. So I want to really emphasize this. You need to understand It is not enough just to know your skills and your strengths. It is not enough to know what accomplishments you have done. You need to be very clear and succinct. Combine these two and tell people, or make it very obvious to yourself at least, by having those things, my skills and my accomplishments, what are the value I bring to the table? What is the value I bring to the table? How do I help people? Right? That is the problem that you solve. That's the problem that you solve. Let's take a look at Jane. Jane has gone through this same exercise with me. Yeah? She's gone through this same exercise with me. What has she done? So she listed down her skills and experience. Developing marketing campaigns, collaborating with a team, managing social media. Right? She also lists down her accomplishments. Right? Create comprehensive marketing strategies that align with business objectives and effectively reach target audiences. Develop impactful social media strategies to engage audiences and build awareness and loyalty. Foster close-knit team to leverage collective strengths to achieve marketing goals and deliver successful campaigns. You can see that Jane actually put a lot of thought in this, okay? Because her description of what she has done and what she's good at is very clear and distinct, okay? I want you to develop your statements into as the detail as possible, maybe into the extent that what Jane has done, okay? Again, Jane spent a bit of time doing this. Obviously, she bounced back and forth with me. But the key thing here is to spend time understanding this. So, Jane has got skills and experience. She has got statements relating to how she solves it, what her accomplishments were. Now, what are the problems she solves? What are the problems she solves? What do you guys think? Maybe you guys give it a try. Type into the chat box. What do you think are some of the things that Jane can solve? Given those two things that her skills and experience and her accomplishments, what are some of the things that Jane can solve? Any improve brand image, low brand awareness, or low brand awareness is a problem, yeah. Poor brand reputation, low engagement on social platforms, good. Customer attrition, I like that. Thank you so much for helping. All right. So essentially, this is what Jane came up with when she did this exercise. All right. So she says, poor consumer sales of new product launch. I think someone mentioned that. Low engagement and growth on social media platforms. Again, somebody mentioned that. I saw that. Resulting in decreased brand awareness. Brand awareness was there as well. Inefficient collaboration within teams, resulting in missed deadlines, decreased productivity and quality of work. Right? So, these are some of the things you have to identify for yourself.
Hi, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you've seen and can't wait for the next one, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel in the link below. See you soon.
So let's do a quick recap. First off, we started by saying, there needs to be alignment. Alignment between what we do professionally and who we are as a personality. Right? There needs to be an alignment. Right? How do we find this alignment? Is by understanding three key components. Okay? What we do well, what's important to us, and what engages us. Okay? By understanding these three components, we are very well on the path to seeking alignment between our professional and personal identity. Okay? Now, we then discussed how do we find these things out. We basically went through a couple of exercises. Okay? One is on meaningful experiences, and the other one is on looking at what you are good at, in other words, your competency versus your preference. Okay? By doing these two exercises, it gives you a great idea of these three components that you see there. What's important to you, what you do well, what engages and drives you. Okay? Because all this is about what? Motivation. Motivation in terms of how you help people. Because how you help people essentially is what you do well and what interests you. Right? That's important. We went to talk about then we need to identify what is our value add, right? In other words, what is the benefit we give to people? And I went on for about 10-15 minutes, basically emphasizing the importance, the critical importance of understanding this notion of being a problem solver. Once you know what problems you solve, you become, and you go to a company that needs those problems to be solved, you become valuable to them. You become valuable to them. Right. In the last 10 minutes or so, I discussed on how we identify the problems that we solve. Okay, using basically a 3-step process. Okay, using our skills and experience, using essentially our accomplishments, then taking a look at the middle portion, which is the red arrow, and trying to understand, with my skills and my accomplishments, right? What are the problems? What is the value add I bring to the table? What's the value add I bring to the table? Okay so far? Right? So in essence, if you look at it, we are trying to find out all the 4 circles that you see here. Okay? Expertise, passion, who needs it, and who is willing to pay for it. The things that we do. All right? We need to identify how we help people, but at the same time, we need to understand what is the value add we bring so that there are people that's willing to pay for that. And we reach out to the people that are willing to pay for that value that you bring to the table. It could be your current employer. It could be a new employer. We need to understand this.
After going through the exercises, I have gained great insights about my skills, preferences, and the problems I can solve. In the past, I usually just listed down all my skill sets and experiences. However, by doing the skills exercise, it was empowering to see a clear picture of what I excel at and enjoy doing, as well as areas where I have room for growth. The skills exercise also helped me in looking at how I can help others. Previously, I focused more on what I could do as a marketing person. But I realized this was too one-sided, and ignored issues others are facing. It's so much more impactful when I can present myself as someone who can solve their problems. It makes it easy for me to connect much quicker as a problem solver, as someone that can help them.
Jane actually brought up a very good point, which I want to emphasize again. Okay? Too often, many job seekers, many people who are looking for a new direction, new career, they focus too much on themselves, right? It's natural. You keep thinking, okay, I'm good at this, these are my accomplishments. Fair enough. But in today's world, right, when there's so much competition, when things are changing so quickly, you need to move one step beyond that, right? And which is what? To look at the other side of the table, to look at the employer's point of view or the prospective employer's point of view. They are looking for people who can help them, right? So you need to bridge that gap. It's not enough to know how good you are, what your accomplishments are anymore, okay? You need to understand how then you bring that to the table to help them. That's why this concept of being a problem solver becomes so much more important nowadays. Is that okay? It brings the other perspective. You have to consider the other person sitting across the table from you, figuratively speaking. Okay? You can't think of yourself anymore, right? You have to think about how you bring value to the other party. Because if you don't know about who you are, what you do well, and what value you bring to the table, right? It's going to be very difficult for you to then understand the next portion, which is about looking at what is possible for you.